As we discussed in a previous episode of the Russell Realty Minute with your host, Evan Russell, at Work with Evan on the Twitter feed, evan@therussellteam.com for your emails, questions, comments, concerns, at Russell Realty Minute on Facebook if you want to download us there, and of course we're in the iTunes Music Store. So in one of the previous episodes of the Russell Realty Minute, we talked about the two reasons why homes don't sell, right? We think those reasons are the pricing and the communication. So let's focus on the communication here and discuss the feedback. Every time a buyer comes through your house, the only feedback that we really should care about is if they're going to make an offer or not. The general feedback when a listing agent calls a buyer agent says, "Hey buyer agent, how'd you like the house?" The buyer agent is probably not going to take the time to insult your house if the client didn't like it. They're not going to say, "Hey, it smelled like dog," or "Hey, it looked moldy," or "Hey, it didn't have enough light." They're going to give you some generic, didn't like the layout, was too close to the street, some other kind of nonsensical type of feedback when really in code it means we didn't like it. Now, sellers kind of really want to know that feedback because they want to know if people like their house or not. It's a very emotional time and an emotional process. So, they have a whole lot of sweat equity and a lot of house pride, most sellers, most times. So they really want that kind of positive feedback that really says, yeah, I really like your house, it's beautiful, but I don't like it enough to buy it, right? So what we need to do is we need to focus on the only piece of feedback that matters, and that piece of feedback that matters is are your clients interested? Do they want to come back for a second look, or are they going to put in an offer? The fact that your rooms aren't laid out right, the bedrooms are too small, the kitchen's too dark, the basement smells musty, we really wanted a 2-car garage, the backyard's not big enough, all those kind of things that we, that get passed along when your listing agent obtains the feedback really doesn't matter. Right? You can't fix the yard. You can't fix the layout. The house is what it is. There's always been one garage. If they came and they thought it needed 2-car garage, then why'd they come look at the house? They're all just stuff that's going to get you frustrated. So if your listing agent doesn't necessarily provide you feedback on every single showing every single time, we have to understand why. Maybe the buyer agent didn't give back to them with feedback, or maybe the feedback doesn't make any sense, or maybe the feedback's ridiculously negative and unwarranted and not really worthy of sharing because it just doesn't make any sense. So I wouldn't get too caught up in the feedback from the listing agent to the seller. The only feedback that we obviously would need would be over time. For example, we've had 15 people through the house. Nobody's liked it. Maybe they don't see the price to value relationship. Maybe we should drop the price a little bit. Or if we haven't had an opportunity to have an open house, maybe we should do that. There are some constructive things that can come out of lack of feedback or negative feedback. But as a seller, really, at the end of the day, and the purpose of this podcast is to really not get held up and kind of get upset by either the lack of feedback or the negative feedback of the the buyers who come through the house. Right? It's kind of a strange process that a buyer goes through a house and in 10 minutes they're willing to spend $400,000. I mean, think how much time we spend, test driving cars and researching computers and all that kind of stuff. Someone looks online, gets in their car, they drive to the house, they walk through it. Okay, I'll spend $400,000, $2,500 a month for the next 30 years to live here. After they've looked at it for 7-8 minutes. Then of course they have a home inspection, but they've already committed to buying the house for the most part at that point. So just, not to beat a dead horse, feedback doesn't matter. The only feedback that really matters for you is if the buyers that came through on a particular date, a particular time, are interested in moving forward with an offer, are interested in doing a little more homework about the property, or, want to do something that's going to push along a potential offer or a potential sale to obtain a potential buyer. All right, hope you enjoyed Russell Realty Minute. Evan Russell, why feedback doesn't matter.